This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now,
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh. Left to go. So anyways, how have you been? It's been it seems like it's been a hot minute, but that's what happens. Hot minutes happen, and then we get together and we go, hey, let's hang out, do our thingo. So that's where we're at. We're doing our thingo today and hanging and banging and doing everything that we can do. So there you go, some fantastic times. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios. Yeah, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio in USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, so let's talk about it. If you are in Orange County, Florida, well, guess what? School's starting today across the whole thing. The whole thing that gets going. So yeah, it's across the behemoth that is known as Safety FM. No, not really, but Orange County. In regards of everything that is actually going on. So all kinds of stuff happening, all kinds of stuff going on as school is officially starting here in the glorious state of Florida. So that's one way to look at it. So anyway, so if you are not familiar with the show, we talk about safety in the news and safety, and all that kind of fun stuff. So let's do this. Why don't we start talking in regards of what we can do. So if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process of doing so. Go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. They'll get everything moving and grooving for you as we are talking. Also, all kinds of fun stuff that you can do there, because once you get there, you can do the call-in, and that's kind of the crucial piece there. You can also do the text messaging. You can do the video messaging. I mean, you message, we get it, we move, we groove, and go from there. Just kind of the way that it goes. It's fun stuff that we get to hang out and do. So if you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to do it, well, you don't have to do it. That's the other great part about it as well. And then, of course, there are all kinds of plethora of things going on within the inside of the world here. So let's do this. I'm going to try to do this, and we're going to do it live and in living color. So that's going to make it even more interesting, because I don't know. I'm going to try to see if we can get a hold of somebody real quick, because that's what I do. Let me do this and see. I'm going to call somebody directly and see if they're available. And if they are, we're going to see if we can get them called in. If not, then we'll go from there. So let me move some screens around and see what we can do, though, here. So with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight? because I think that might be the easier way to do this. So let's do this right now.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so looking at the trends of the ends of the end, Sam Bankman-Fried didn't dodge the bullet after all, and a lucky lottery winner makes history. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the shit list. Former Victoria's Secret Angels reunite for a new campaign, and more accusations have been hurled toward Lizzo. So there you go. The WGA strike has now surpassed 100 days. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that we are seeing inside of the world. So we will talk about that as well. So let me do this because I'm not getting a direct response. So we will make the assumptions that the person's sleeping aping in regards of trying to get them in here. So we'll see see what happens though. So there you go. Hold on. I cannot go on the air through call-in. I am available anytime after that. Oh, 8 a.m. Well, okay, so the person's not available. Okay, so let's do this. If you did not see, we'll just talk about it directly. If you did not see this, Jim Posel, Safety Wars, when you have the late night guy and trying to get him in the early morning just doesn't work out too well, had a whole rant about some stuff that's going on. There's this company that does these minor interviews, and they do interviews, and then they do, we'll say, talking bites of the interviews, and these little bites sometimes are the worst shit that you get to hear. Nothing against the company; they're just trying to get some people to pay attention to them. You can't dog them for that. But man, have they caused an array of shit as of late? And I have to tell you, Posel was letting them have it yesterday in regards to some of the things that have been said on there. So I wanted to bring him in, but he's busy this morning, so apparently he can't make it. So I'll just be heartbroken for the rest of the morning. No, not a big deal. Things do happen. I get it. And when I don't have them planned out and said, hey, let's just kind of fling it and see what the hell happens, that's what happens. It's called, live radio, opposed to, what the podcasting kids do. So anyways, with that being said, we do this. So let's talk about all the stuff that we do. We talk about safety in the news and safety on this glorious little show. We'll talk about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the segs, because if we didn't do that, we would have to hurt ourselves in that particular regards. So Posel is saying that he's available anytime after, let's see, I'm taking a look here, saying anytime after 8. Well, that will put us in, what the hell is that going to put us in? That's going to put us in hour number 2 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, which we normally are talking about music here. So we'll debate and see what the hell we can come up with. Not a biggie iggy. We can always go back if need be. Anyways, with that being said, let's do this real quick. Let's bring in the newscasters. Let them news away about what the hell is going on. Take a listen to this.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Wind-whipped wildfires sweeping on the Hawaiian island of Maui have forced hundreds of people to evacuate, overwhelmed hospitals, and drove some people into the ocean to escape the flames. Hawaii Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke is telling tourists to alter upcoming trips.
Whether it's visitors or residents, it's not a safe place for you to be. We encourage people to be safe. If you have travel plans to Maui, we ask that you postpone it or cancel it at this time.
Officials now say wildfires sweeping across the western area of the island have killed at least 36 people. At least 24 are injured, and more than 270 structures are damaged or destroyed. Entire blocks of homes and businesses in historic Lahaina town went up in smoke, where fires fueled by wind from a passing hurricane were concentrated. The popular tourist spot turned into a raging inferno in just hours. A new COVID variant is spreading through the U.S. EG.5 is causing about 17% of new COVID-19 cases in the nation. The CDC says EG is a spin-off of another strain. This new variant comes just as hospitalizations for COVID is rising in the U.S. Virgin Galactic is set to launch its second commercial space flight this morning. The flight is scheduled to take off from the company's Spaceport America in New Mexico, with passengers on the VSS Unity, carried to 50,000 feet by another aircraft before decoupling and blasting off about 53 miles up. The company will live stream the trip starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. Former President Trump says he will not sign the loyalty pledge that the Republican National Committee requires for candidates to take part in the first primary debate. Trump said during a Newsmax interview he wouldn't sign it due to people being on the pledge he wouldn't endorse. Trump has said in the past he may skip the debate, pointing out a large lead in primary polls. More than 150 ships wanting to cross the Panama Canal can't book passage as drought keeps making congestion worse. The current wait time to cross the canal is around 21 days. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. A presidential candidate in Ecuador has been shot dead at a campaign rally. US President Joe Biden's declared a national emergency over so-called countries of concern getting US technology they could use militarily or for spying and surveillance. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is facing a vote of no confidence in Parliament, and senior police leaders in Northern Ireland are facing questions on Thursday about a major data breach.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Two of Donald Trump's co-defendants in the classified documents case will be entering pleas this morning. Mar-a-Lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira and Trump's personal aide Walt Nata have been charged with multiple offenses related to the former president's alleged mishandling of classified documents after leaving office. Both defendants will be arraigned this morning in Fort Pierce, Florida, on new charges brought by the special counsel in the case. Trump will not appear at the arraignment. Earlier this month, Trump submitted a waiver of appearance and entered a plea of not guilty. New data shows a heart benefit of a Novo Nordisk obesity drug that increases the chance of a payoff for that company and Eli Lilly. The drug makers have spent a record amount on lobbying to persuade the federal government to make the drugs eligible for Medicare coverage. U.S. law classifies weight loss treatments as lifestyle drugs and bars Medicare from paying for them. Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly have spent close to $1.3 million this year lobbying Congress on obesity and a bill introduced in July. The measure would allow Medicare to reimburse those medicines. Eligible households can get their internet bill reduced through a new government program in Virginia. Rebecca Hughes explains.
Having internet at home is critical to sustaining important aspects of our everyday life. And although I think budgeting for internet service is a priority for many households, affording it can still be a real big challenge.
Alejandra Rourke, FCC Bureau Chief of the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau, tells the Virginia News Network that through the FCC's Affordable Connectivity Program, some households will see savings of $30 a month towards their internet service, and homes on qualifying tribal lands could see a savings of $75 a month. Eligible households can also receive a one-time savings of up to $100 towards the purchase of a laptop or tablet from participating providers.
The quickest way to be able to enroll or to get more information is to visit getinternet.gov.
He says you can also apply over the phone or request a printed application by calling 877-384-2575.
NFL preseason heats up tonight. The Houston Texans visit the Patriots in Foxborough, followed by the Vikings and Seahawks squaring off in Seattle. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now? That live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's one. That's O-N-E. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
What? Imitation? No way. Anyways, let's continue talking about everything that's going on. It is 18 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this fabulous Thursday, August the 10th. Yes, it is a fabulous Thursday of August the 10th. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. So let's start talking about it. Late last month, the federal government announced that it was dropping charges against Sam Bankman-Fried related to the Federal Election Commission violation, but it turns out he's not getting off that easy. Since SBF was extradited from the Bahamas, some complicated international law got in the way of the formal charges on a technicality, but prosecutors now say that they will formally re-add those charges to the existing indictment that includes fraud and conspiracy charges. The trial is scheduled to begin in October. So there you go. Not off as easy as you would originally thought, but I guess that's just kind of the way that it goes from time to time. Anyway, take a listen to this. A black bear is on the prowl near Lake Tahoe, and it has captured after spending nearly a year snooping around even inside some of the homes in the area. Locals have nicknamed the bear Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank. But turns out that it's actually a female bear, so she's headed to the sanctuary in Colorado. Then they'll have at least 21 documented instances of Hank's break-ins on private property. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure. Okay, let's see if I don't screw up this name. Davian Kimbrough might just be the youngest professional athlete in American history. At only 13 years of age, Kimbrough recently signed a contract with Sacramento Republic FC of the USL Championship League. Before that, the 5'11", 150-pound forward played for the team's youth academy starting at, just at the age of 11. In 2 seasons, the Kimbrough scored 61 goals in 81 games. He will make his first appearance on the team on Saturday when the Sacramento Republic takes on the Birmingham Legion FC. This is according to The Guardian. So there you go. So take a listen to this because, some people were heartbroken yesterday morning. An unidentified Neptune Beach, Florida resident is now $1.58 billion richer after winning Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. They also have a cash option of $783.3 million. That's the third largest amount Mega Million dollars. What are the odds? Chances of winning the Mega Million jackpot is 1 in 302.6 million. 302.6 million. Think about that. Think about that predictive text there. I mean, just think about it for just one moment. Okay, so let's stay here in good old Florida. There's a group of volunteer scuba divers in Florida who spend their free time searching for bodies in the water in search of clues related to unsolved crimes, particularly cold cases. Last weekend, the group searched for a lake that's near Miami International Airport and found a trove of more than 30 cars underwater. Officials say that the group don't believe that the cars were part of one massive tragedy, but believe that the lake has instead dumping the ground and hiding the evidence in crimes that spanned over years. Efforts are now underway to remove those vehicles in search of further evidence. This is according to WSVN. So there you go. Some information to think about there. Yep. I mean, think about that. That's some interesting ones for sure. Anyways, take a listen to this. I got some John Smalls wanting to tell you about the market beat, so let's do that.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, August 10th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets treaded water Wednesday as traders and investors await today's critical inflation report. July CPI report is expected to show inflation remains hot and will lead the FOMC to hike rates again later this year. With oil prices breaking out to new one-year highs, cool data may not matter because inflation will rise again. The price of WTI is moving steadily higher under the force of supply and demand imbalances that have been put in place by OPEC. The way the market is tilted, it's likely WTI will soon be tickling the $100 region. The next hurdle for the market will come next week when the major retailers begin reporting. Consumer spending has underpinned the economy for the last few years and is expected to sustain steady results, if not growth, in the retail industry. The question is, which retailers will come out on top given the shifts in spending habits caused by inflation? Discretionary names may not fare well. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information of what the hell's going on. That's for sure. So let's talk a little bit about what I was able to locate. It goes something like this. The Dow lost about 191 points to close at 35,123. The S&P lost 31 points to close at 4,467. And the NASDAQ lost about 162 points to close at 13,722. West Texas Intermediate closed at $84 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $87 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.82. Bitcoin dipped back down on Wednesday, trading just around $29,500. And there was more than 3,300 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, and more than 115 such cancellations. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $20 million jackpot or a $9.9 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you can do so. There's still time to. That's the fantastic part about it. So think about that. Think about that for a moment. Sometimes we get to play the game and do some stuff that, you wouldn't normally factor into being able to do. And now you get to do it. Isn't that Grado? Aguado? Ricardo? I don't know. Sounded good to me as we were talking about it. Anyway, so let's continue talking about some other stuff because we got plenty of things to talk about. The FBI agents shot and killed a Provo, Utah man that they attempting to arrest him for making threats towards President Biden. Former FBI agent Carl Schramm, who specialized in exorcism. No, hold on. Extremism, not exorcism, because that'd be something else. Says that agents can't investigate someone whose ideologies of their belief. So take a listen.
Look, this guy is espousing the fact that he's calling himself a MAGA Trumper, come after me. But the reason the FBI investigated him is because he was making threats that were violations of federal law, not because of his political beliefs.
Yep, so there you go. Schwami says that the FBI focuses on behavior and intent rather than someone has the means to act on their words. So there you go. Stuff to think about. Anyways, a former inmate in Boulder County Jail has settled a federal civil rights lawsuit for just around $2.5 million. Ryan Partridge sued the county over multiple individuals in 2017, seeking damages of excessive force and indifference to the needs of mental health and treatment.
Some people probably view it as that I did it to myself, and we also were fighting uphill against qualified immunity for a lot of the people in our lawsuit.
Patridge reported that he tried to commit suicide several times and permanently lost his eyesight from a self-inflicted injury. Attorneys claim that the jail simply left psychosis untreated. A spokesperson for the sheriff's office said that in a statement that they do not believe that any of the staff named in the lawsuit were at fault or violated the law. Ryan Patridge's mother, Shelby Patridge, says solitary confinement and qualified immunities are issues that they want to see addressed, especially when it comes to how mental health is handled within the jails.
We're lucky to have Ryan here. There's lots of people who lose their loved one in this situation.
So a lot of stuff going on right there. There's tension in Blanesville, New Jersey, after tenants are forced to come from their home. Scott Pringle has more.
Well, residents are fuming. They were given no notice, have nowhere to go, and already paid the August rent. Tenants were given 24 hours to move out of buildings on West 7th Street and one on Arlington Avenue because of unsafe conditions. Well, yesterday, angered families confronted the landlord and demanded answers from Plainfield officials. Mayor Adrian Mapp.
This landlord is heartless and uncaring about his tenants and is driven by greed and profit.
Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle. Yes, when you start looking at misplacing people in regards of what's going on and after they paid for the rent, makes it a little bit difficult for them to be able to do some stuff. There is no doubt about that. Take a listen to this. A national chain is bringing back Taco Tuesday for an entire month. Mark Mayfield has the tasty details.
Taco Bell says its customers will be able to get a free taco every Tuesday from August 15th to September 5th. The offer comes after the Taco John's restaurant chain dropped its trademark on the phrase Taco Tuesday, making it possible for other businesses to use it. Taco Bell has released a statement saying Taco Tuesday belongs to all who make, sell, eat, and celebrate tacos. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Hold on, what the hell is Taco John thinking? I mean, I'm just saying out there. I mean, why would you not want to keep that trademark? Anyways, officials on the Hawaii island of Maui now say the wildfires sweeping across the western area of the island have killed at least 36 people. Mark Mayfield has the story.
According to a press release from Maui County, 36 total fatalities have been discovered amid the active Lahaina fire. Entire blocks of homes and businesses in historic Lahaina town have gone up in smoke, where fires fueled by wind from a Pacific hurricane are concentrated. More than 270 structures are damaged or destroyed. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, take a listen to this. Kuwait City Barbie is being banned by Kuwait. Here's some details from Mark Mayfield.
A spokesman for the Kuwaiti Ministry of Information said late Wednesday that the movie is being banned in the Middle Eastern country because it promulgates ideas and beliefs that are alien to Kuwaiti society. The ban was announced shortly after the culture minister in Lebanon called for the film to be banned in that Middle Eastern country because it promotes homosexuality and questions the necessity of marriage and having a family. Barbie is the first film by a solo female director to make over $1 billion worldwide. I'm Mark Mayfield.
So there you go. Interesting times for sure. The crowd at Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is down this year, but Senior Deputy Doug Kimball with Bennington County Sheriff's Office says that it still appears to be busier or busy as ever. Not busier than ever, but as busy as ever.
More on again, off again traffic on the nice days. It's hard to tell the difference between this year, the 83rd rally, and the 75th rally on days as beautiful as this.
The South Dakota Department of Transportation reported the vehicles count hit about 250,000 on Tuesday, the fifth day of the rally. That's 40,000 below the 5-year average. But drugs and alcohol are a big problem this year, according to local law enforcement. Meade County Sheriff Pat West said that on Wednesday that felony and misdemeanor drugs arrests are jumping pretty high compared to at least a year. He also said that DUIs continue to be an issue. So there you go. Some very interesting stuff going on over there. Okay, if you're trying to avoid COVID, researchers say keep your fingers out of your nose. Bree Tennis has more.
Researchers from Free University in Amsterdam studied COVID transmission and the impact of behavioral attributes like nail biting, having a beard, and picking your nose. They found COVID infection rates were 17.3% higher in people who pick their nose. The data shows the nasal cavity is the main transport vessel for the virus. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Okay, so let's talk about this because I'm slightly confused here. I think probably 100% of people pick their nose. I don't care if you have a tissue. I don't care if you're blowing your nose. I don't care whatever the hell you're doing. There is some formality of, crap coming out of your nose, some way, shape, or form. Think about it for a moment. So how do you take care of the issue? Maybe that's more of the question. I mean, I'm a firm believer in the neti pot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would recommend if you don't have one, get one and use it daily. It's strongly encouraged and recommended. But geez, man, what the hell are you supposed to do around here? Very interesting stuff. Anyways, an extra layer of security is coming to those who live in public housing in Richmond. Richard Sterling has more.
The Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority recently hired Sentry Force Security to patrol public housing and senior complexes. 9 armed guards will begin training by the end of the month, but public hearings will take place first to get resident feedback. Those meetings will begin on the 21st. RRHA President Stephen Naismith tells 8 News the guards will come in and be part of the community. I'm Richard Stelling.
Okay, thank you, Richard Stelling, for that one as we are hearing the news of what is going on. Do I want to talk about this? Yeah, let's talk about it. Illinois officials are showing that off of the treasured butter cow at the state fairground in Springfield, Illinois. Dairy farmer Lori Lee Schultz helped introduce the butter cow yesterday. Take a listen.
This year's butter cow sculpture celebrates the Illinois dairy farm families like mine who harvest the fun of dairy every day on our farms.
Okay, the 2023 State Fair kicks off today. It runs through August the 20th in Springfield. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so probably we should do that thing that we do around this time for we can do that thing. If not, we'd be doing another thing, and nobody wants to do that thing that we're not doing because it's a thing that confuses other things.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. All kinds of stuff going on inside of the multiverse, sometimes the multiplex, sometimes the multi-unit of your housing. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on. Some stuff to think about. You know, you get interesting sounds from time to time. And the world changes. You take a look around and you're doing the things that you get to do inside of your work environment, and stuff change around for you that it just doesn't make sense on where you want to go. I mean, think about it real quick. But I want you to think for just a brief moment. And I want to talk about this. And I want you to see a benefit into something that comes out of the quantum experiences of broke reality. Now, I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds there in talking about that, but I want to talk about goals that you have at work and things that you are trying to implement inside of your safety program, inside of your safety department, inside of the cultural safety inside of the organization. Put the word wherever the hell you want to put it, because that's going to be the easier way to do it. But I want you to think about this, and I want you to really give it some thought. But think about interference patterns that occur inside of when you're trying to accomplish something. I know. We're gonna take some weird dives today. Inside of these interference patterns, but let's talk about them briefly for just one moment, because I think that might be the better way to do this. So let's bring somebody in from the outside.
By the way, Veritasium actually conducts this experiment in his excellent series on the double slit experiment. Really worth a look. This is so bizarre. This pattern has nothing to do with how each photon's energy gets spread out, as was the case with the water wave.
So, before I actually probably go into this, you're probably not going to be able to see it because we're doing a radio show. So, I would probably recommend go find a video that's called The Quantum Experiment That Broke Reality. It's from Space Time, and it's on PBS Digital Studios. You can find it on YouTube, not a problem whatsoever. But what this actually shows is that when you're doing interference patterns, even if you have something blocking the way and you have the double slit experiment, which means there's 2 holes inside of this wall device, and when it actually, these patterns hit it, the patterns continue through the actual other side of the device. Yes, you have to really love science to appreciate some of this weirdness that I'm talking about. But also at the same time, too, I want you to understand that when we do this, it also applies to sound waves. So I reference this because sometimes we look at the interference of what people are doing inside of our work organization as it's going to be the thing that stops what's supposed to happen, the things that you're trying to change. And going based on quantum experiments, the interference pattern still allows to the information to arrive where you're trying for it to get to. Even though the interference was there, the pattern on the other side still shows exactly the way that it should have happened in the first place. I know. This is what happens when you get a psychologist and you also get a person that's into quantum mechanics, start talking about safety stuff. Because here's the deal. Sound very presidential with that bullshit. But here's the gig that we need to talk about. Sometimes we have these assumptions that things are not going to work out because there is a barrier in the way. There is something that is blocking what we need to accomplish, and that's not really the case. I mean, it can be there, but information can still go and run exactly where we need it to. And I think sometimes we struggle because we tend to believe that there's just no way that if somebody's interfering that things are going to be able to continue on. This is why we've spoken about in the past that you need to have someone who's out there who is cheerleading for you. Someone who's out there that's going out there and saying, hey, I'm going to push all this shit forward that you're trying to accomplish. Because that's what the organization needs. And as I look at some of these quantum experiences that you can actually take a look at across the board, it's amazing to me on how the information still continues to move forward. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you, I've been taking some deep dives into a lot of, we'll call it the weirdness of the universe stuff. But it's definitely stuff that I want to take a look into for us to be able to talk about it. And for a period of time, we kept on talking about extra Cheez-Its. Now, I mean, some people will know that it's called the Extra Jesus of Philip K. Dick. And we can get into that. But I think that that's almost kind of like a standalone episode opposed to what we're talking about. But if you get a chance today, look at Quantum Experience That Broke Reality by Spacetime. It's a PBS digital studio special, and it's available on YouTube. I think it's going to take you places that you didn't think it would take you. And it does kind of make you wonder on sometimes as we see patterns and we think that things are not going to work, maybe they're going to work out a lot better than you thought.
Oops! What did she just say? You're listening to the home. Don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you. And
oh, there you go. Yeah, this one right here that you're listening to on the Rated R Safety Show, hour number one of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. This is To My Grave by Step Rockets. Oh, yes, this love's gonna take me to my grave. There you go. Anyways, this song's available on YouTube Music, Spotify, and Apple Music. You know, because we want you to take some listens. So there you go. Yeah, we played this one before, but man, sometimes you just can't you can't skip the music. You know what I'm saying? So we have to talk about them. So there you go. Thank you to Step Rockets for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important aspect that I will tell you in my lifetime, and that is about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. If you take a look at my shirt today, if you're on the video aspect, you can see it. It says, "How are you really doing?" Yes. I think, you know, messaging with shirts is so important. I really think it is. I mean, if you ever catch me around, I wear all kinds of random stuff that has important messaging. And To Write Love on Her Arms has all kinds of shirts inside that actually have messaging like that. Also, inside of the shirts, Most of them have messaging as well, but let's not get lost in what's important here. Let's talk about it, about some of the stuff that they're doing. No, what they want you to know right away is that no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. TWLOHA wants you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. All you have to do to find out more information is go to TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Seriously, that will get everything moving and grooving for you right away. Right away. So there you go. To Write Love on Her Arms. I'm going to tell you, this whole thing with mental health and struggling, it's real. And I will tell you, I have been playing with the Hopeful app that TWLOHA released, or To Write Love on Her Arms, and I will say it is crucial. And I'm going to reference this, and probably, I'm not sure if this is something I should reference on the air, but I'm going to anyways. But not last night, but Tuesday to Wednesday at 11 o'clock at night, I'm receiving a phone call that a friend of a friend was attempting death by suicide. And it's kind of one of those weird spots to be put into because you don't know what to do. There's so many different things to talk about. And I look at it and I go, these are the things that we need to talk about because this needs to normalize the conversation on when people are struggling. Until we get to the point that we understand that people are not always okay, we're going to have these problems. Because listen, we live in this medium of social media where everything is perfect and no one has problems. And I don't get it because it's not real. You know, I'll quote some Fiona Apple for a moment. This world that you are watching is bullshit. Remember, she said that on MTV many, many, many years ago and kind of got her banned for some period of time. But I look at this and I go, we have to have these conversations and understand that the world is not perfect. I have my littlest daughter actually waving at me at the moment. But these are the things that we need to talk about because they're that important. So think about that. Think about that for just one moment. Find out more information. To Write Love on Her Arms. TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Let's get you into some more news because there's always stuff going on inside of this. Take a listen to this. As laws change and acceptance grows, the number of Americans who admit to experimenting with marijuana is at an all-time high. Double entendre there. Take a listen.
Now, half of Americans tell Gallup that they've tried marijuana at some point in their lives. The poll has been inching up to that 50% mark in recent years, but it's the first time to meet that threshold. About 1 in 6 Americans, 17%, say they smoke marijuana now. That percentage has more than doubled in the past decade. Not surprisingly, younger people, age 18 to 34, are most likely to smoke marijuana. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Yeah, smoking marijuana, dudes. So there you go. Anyways, a 16-year-old mother and her 4-month-old daughter from Oxford are missing. Daniel Martindale reports.
Myledia Monroy Ortiz and her daughter were last seen at their home at about 3:30 Wednesday afternoon. Police say they vanished after a custody hearing earlier in the day. It's believed the mother took off with her daughter after the baby's biological father was awarded custody. I'm Daniel Martindale.
So it'll be interesting to see what's going to be the follow-up for that one, no doubt about that. Anyway, 16 presidential candidates are slated to appear in the 2023 Iowa State Fair. Take a listen to this.
12 Republican presidential candidates will be interviewed by Governor Kim Reynolds, including Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, and Ron DeSantis this Saturday. Donald Trump is notably absent from the Fairside chats. He was invited. Trump is set to appear at the fair Saturday, as are Democratic presidential candidates Marianne Williamson and Robert Kennedy Jr. I'm Keegan Turnbow.
It will be interesting to see what happens there. Take a listen to this. Authorities are investigating a shooting that left several family members dead in an unincorporated Crystal Lakes. The McHenry County Sheriff's Office deputies were called to a home early yesterday at the 5800 block of Wild Plum Road on the reports that a single household member shooting their relatives.
Upon arrival, deputies located 3 deceased females, a male seriously injured, and a female seriously injured.
One family member was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and the other person believed to be the aggressor was also hospitalized and after pronounced dead. That all occurred yesterday coming out of Crystal Lake, Illinois. So just so you know. Interesting stuff going on for sure as we are talking. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this. There are no reports of arrest or injuries after a large group of protesters blocked the eastbound 134 freeway in Glendale. The protesters were trying to bring attention to the Armenians. Take a listen.
Kids are starving. 120,000 people and 30,000 alone, just the kids, are starving and have no food. This is not normal in 2023 to face genocide.
The group blocked all lanes of the freeway with cars and semi-trucks at about 9 o'clock Wednesday night. The California Patrol issued a SIG alert that lasted 3 hours. The protesters laid large signs across the freeway with messages directed to Congressman Adam Schiff, who represents Glendale. So it makes it very interesting on how that would work. Because, listen, I understand trying to bring attention to stuff, but when you do that, there's so many things that you're putting at risk also at the same time, too. And that's the stuff we talked about that last week. You know, there's certain things that if you expect them to be normal, it's okay to talk about. But if it's something out of the ordinary, the whole world kind of loses their shit that things that are going on. Isn't that interesting how that happens? Anyways, before we get too far away, let's bring you some John Smalls with some Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Greg. John Wooden said, "Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are." I know people who've struggled with this. I've had clients who have companies that are known for something that's not great. They overcome their shortfall, but people still remember them for who they were. That can be a hard one. Living in the shadow of who we used to be can be so tough, especially if who we used to be is not great. My advice is fess up. Tell people in your marketing what your shortcomings were, and then tell them how you fixed them. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
As we age, our brain function diminishes, but there is a simple way to delay the wear and tear on the brain.
Getting movement throughout your day helps improve the blood flow to the brain, helps reduce inflammation.
Sherilyn Jackson with the Kansas State University Extension says physical activity reduces the production of stress hormones, increases the release of feel-good hormones, and helps us sleep better. Jackson says movement doesn't have to be strenuous. Just getting out of your chair and walking around every half hour can work wonders for your brain. And a new study claims you don't need to take 10,000 steps every day to lower your risk of heart disease. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore measured data from over 200,000 people who were counting their steps, and what they found is that people who hit the 4,000 step mark saw their risk go down of dying prematurely from any cause. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Okay, that's some stuff to think about for sure as we are talking, no doubt about that. So let's continue with some things that happened back on this day. So taking a look around real quick, let's share. Back on this day in... Should we do 2020? Yeah, let's do 2020. 2020 data from Johns Hopkins University shows that global COVID-19 cases have passed 20 million. The total number of deaths was 734,000. That was back in 2020 on this day. So think about that. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, I have some of those. Kylie Jenner turns 26. Jacob Lettermore turns 27. Andre Drummond turns 30 exactly. Lucas Till, 33. Brent Twalis turns 34. Jake Stone, 38. Wade Barrett, 43. Joanna Garcia turns 44. June Shannon turns 44. Ricky Smiley, 55. Susan Collins turns 61. Antonio Banderas turns 63 today, and Betsy Johnson turns 81. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. It's National Lazy Day, Skyscraper Appreciation Day, Duran Duran Appreciation Day, National S'mores Day, World Lion Day, Vlogging Day, and National Spoil Your Dog Day. Yep, National Spoil Your Dog Day. So, I guess that's some stuff to do, if you really want to think about it. Give it some consideration. Anyways, let's talk about this real quick before I forget. Let's talk about the Conklin Conference, Human Organization Performance Workshop that's taking place in Orlando, Florida, September the 27th through the 29th, taking place at the Rosen Plaza. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io to find out some more information on what the hell is going on. You'll have the opportunity to hang out with Jen Long, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, and Andrea Baker. And, of course, Todd Conklin will be there because it's the Conklin Conference, and I'll be hosting throughout the 27th, 28th, 29th. Now, listen, I want to break reference to this early. And you get there. On the 26th, the Alliance for Central Florida Safety is doing something called Safety Day at the exact same venue. Rosen Plaza, 26th of September. For $30, yes, $30, you can get in and do all kinds of fun stuff. Have some multiple different speakers. Includes lunch and parking. Lunch and parking. That's Safety Day 2023 from the ACFS if you want to come and take a look at that. So that's available too. All you have to do is go to acfs.org to find out some more information about their tickets. Yeah, they were just on the show on Tuesday. They were on the Safety FM show with Jay Allen, just for information purposes. Anyways, I'm going over to Radio Big for the next couple hours to hang out and do my thing. So if you want to come over there, hang out, you're more than welcome on doing that. We can hang out and do some stuff. If you don't, that's fine too. You can keep it locked on Safety FM. Hang out with Sheldon Primus. Yes, the Primus Imus. And he'll take you throughout this morning and talk about the business of safety consulting. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, call someone you love because it's been some time. Do it. Do it today. You know, it's okay to reach out to friends every once in a while and say, hey, listen, I haven't talked to you in a while. Just wanted to call and say I love you. And that's it. And then say bye and hang up. Life goes on, dear John. It's amazing on how that shit works. Anyway, so that's it. That's going to sum up our time. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
Are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.